Okay, now I've got a bit of room in my shed and my bench is clear. I'll be fixing this Victa Commando. So firstly, what I've done is I've just gone over it with the air compressor just to blow all the dust off it, just grass clippings and stuff like that. Then what you need to do first of all is pretty much just test the compression, and with these engines it's a bit hard to tell if they've got compression because they do have a decompression valve just there. But if you pull it, you'll be able to feel it go hard, and yeah, it does. Second thing to do is test for a spark. Okay, to test for a spark, what you do, you take the plug out, put it in its little thing there, and then you just rest it apart some metal part of the body, just like that. Make sure this is in the run position. If you pull the pull start, you should be able to see a little spark there. Now, I might not be pulling it fast enough, or this spark plug is old and fouled. The person I got it off said that it would need a new spark plug, so I'll just get a fresh one and test it and see. I've got a new spark plug in it and it still doesn't have a spark, but I'm not too concerned because the magnetos on these things are pretty strong. I mean, there's no moving parts in them, they're just a coil of wire. And I think it's probably the kill switch, because in these Victas with this type of carburetor, the kill switches are pretty dodgy. They can slip out pretty easily. So I'll take the covers off it. I'll take this orange cover off and see if I can see if it's come out. Okay, I've taken the cover off it. I'll take it outside to get all that grass that's in there out of it, so I can see. I'll take the cover off here as well. Left the fuel tank just stays on with that, and just disconnect it there and turn it off with the fuel tap. Yeah, I'll just take that outside and clean it up. I've cleaned it up, and you can see that in there, that's actually the kill switch there. That little bright piece there, that's one of the contacts, and another one goes in there. So they can come out pretty easily. They weren't out, but I'll give it another pull to see if something was maybe contacting or something. Still don't have a spark. So what I'll do is I'll pull one of the contacts all the way out so that we know that there's definitely no contact being made. And this is a bit, just wiggle it out and it just come out like that, and now it's out. So this should get a spark, if anything. What I'll do is I'll turn this off and then tell you. Okay, I've actually got a spark now. It probably was that contact, because I can pull it pretty slowly now and get a spark. You can see a spark there. So I think it probably was just that contact that might have been hitting or something. So that's probably why the person even threw it out. So now that it's got a spark, I can say with 100% certainty that I'll be able to fix this 100%. Okay, so now what you do, you have to undo all these like suction cables and stuff. This one's from the decompression valve. You have to undo this one here, which goes into the, looks like it goes into the bottom of the, not quite the crankcase, but around where the flywheel fan is. So you have to undo that. You don't undo this, because you won't be able to take that all the way off, but you do undo it up here. So I'll go ahead and undo all those. Okay, now that I've got all those things undone, to get it off, it's not screwed on in any way. What it is it's held on with sort of a little, I'm not quite sure how to describe it, but what you do is you twist it 45 degrees, or about that anti-clockwise, and then it should just pull off. There you go, it's off. Easy as that. I'll just show you this quickly before I start taking it apart. The throttle is actually controlled by like a sort of valve, not a butterfly. And you can see that when you accelerate, it moves up and down, and that's what controls the speed of the engine. Okay, now you've got it off the engine. I just start dismantling it, So on this side of the carburetor you've got the float and the float chamber and all that kind of stuff, and over here you've got like a little I'm not quite sure how to describe it. I'll take it off and show you. Okay, I've just taken that off, and you can see in there that's like the float chamber, and there's the float, there's the needle, and there was a bit of old fuel on it, and it had gone off stale, and so maybe the person had left it sitting around for too long, and they put fresh fuel in it and thought it doesn't start, so they just threw it out. And I took this other side off here, and you see that's like a sort of like a diaphragm, and you can see that when I push this in here, it moves that. So, and there's like a little vacuum line on the other side of this thing here. So I think when vacuum pressure or something comes in it, it pushes that down, which sort of maybe helps start it. I'm not quite sure, but I don't know. I've taken that other piece off, and you can see that when this piece of plastic here sits, that's the little valve I was talking about. It sits on like a little, so you can see like a little groove. It sits in there, and then when you accelerate, you can see that it came out. But there's springs and stuff holding it in, and that's sort of what makes it move. So I'll just take this part off here. That's kind of difficult to do, but what you do is you take this thing off. Take that off and sort of wind that back, and then that's the accelerator cable there. So you sort of have to, I think, put it forward, and then that just comes out. And putting it in is a bit more difficult, but and to get this out, you can see it's just fitted in there. So just do that and it's all out. So it's all in separate pieces now, ready to clean. Okay, now that it's all in pieces, you want to get a tin, a clean tin from a soup tin or something. These are all the tins I collect, so that I can have them fresh. They're pretty hard to clean once they're used. So you just grab a tin which you think everything will fit in. That's not going to work. I'll grab this big tin here. I'll just put everything in the tin. Got to watch out. The needle is still in there. I'll take it out and show you. That's the needle. Oh, you can't see it, but that's the needle there. So that's what stops the fuel. So you just got to make sure you don't lose that. They're pretty cheap. I think they're only about $1 or so. You know, you don't want to lose it. So put that all in there. And then what you want to do is fill that up with fuel, not fully, just probably a couple of centimeters at the bottom. And you know, rotate it around and get them all clean. Okay, you can see I've put a bit of fuel in there. So now what I'll do is I'll just swish it around, and I'll probably have to rotate the parts around so everything gets a bit of fuel on it. I've seen a product called carb cleaner. I think that's a massive waste of money. I believe all it is pretty much petrol or some sort of dissolvent in a can. Yeah, I think it's a waste of money. I wouldn't buy it. Okay, I've rotated everything around a couple of times. So what I do now is I've got my air compressor here. So I just take everything out and give it a blow with the air compressor. That's unleaded in there. I wouldn't use two-stroke fuel because the oil the oil probably won't like come off very easily. So you just use unleaded and that comes off quite easily. So I'll go ahead and clean up all those. I've got all these cleaned up now, and you can see that the fuel in there, you can see all the little bits of grit in there. There's something still in there. Oh, a little needle. I'll blow that out in just a second. Victa's really nice with their carburetors. They actually give a few hints as to where things go. on this piece here, it says this side down. You can't read in the video, but I assure you it does. And also on this part here, it says it has a line saying this line horizontal. So they give you a few helping hands out when you're putting it back together, in case you didn't really pay attention when you were taking it apart. Okay, what I'll do is I'll assemble this side of the carburetor first, where the fuel goes in. Firstly, what you need to do is put the needle in its little slot over here.